Doing inventory is daunting and it's tedious and it's exhausting. Sometimes it can take way too long. Did you know that as a business who makes or sells products at wholesale or to consumers, that you must, well, at least it's best practice, to have accurate inventory in your point of sale system? You need to know this information because it helps you ensure that you have enough goods when you need to sell them so that you can make the most money. It helps you know when something has gotten old and it's no longer serving you, but tying up your cash instead. And an accurate inventory will give you the final inventory number that you need on hand December 31st to give to the IRS for tax season. In this video, I'm sharing my 5 critical steps to help you count all your widgets with ease in hopes to make this whole process of doing inventory smoother for you. Hi, my name's Candace and I help business owners in the pet industry start, grow, and profit so that they can actually have a thriving business, reclaim their life back, and keep making an awesome impact in their communities. Before we get started, I want to make sure that you download my free guide in the description below to help you grow your pet business no matter what stage you're in. I want to share a little story with you. I started my pet retail journey in 2004, which we never did inventory in 2004, and so not until 2006, when I started taking my business a little bit more seriously, did I decide to do an inventory. And I had no idea what I was doing. I printed out my entire inventory catalog and item SKU list from my point of sale system, made binders. I think the paper was like that thick. It was not necessarily the best thing to do, but printed it all out, made a couple copies. I called up my mom and my brother at the time he's still my brother, but I called up my brother who I think was only maybe 9 at the time. And we decided we were going to flip through every page, find the things on the page that it said I had, and walk around the store and count that stuff. Well, you know what? It took us like a week to get through it. And even then it was inaccurate and messy. And I kind of vowed I was never doing inventory ever again. Well, fast forward into my professional development and realizing that there was still so much to business that I didn't know. At about, I think I hate to admit this, but year 5, I knew what I was doing when it came to inventory. And we started with a better strategy. And then what I'm sharing with you now is even things that I've learned along the way that we made tweaks with to even make it faster, to the point where we ended up getting that same inventory that took a week the first time down into 1 day. So here are the 5 things that I learned over the years to help us get it all done faster with less mistakes and very little headaches. Number 1, I want you to receive in all pending purchase orders and held invoices on your merchandise. If you place orders with manufacturers and they are currently in your software as a purchase order, and maybe that shipment already arrived, but you didn't close it out, we want to make sure that that gets processed. Or you might have received in inventory and that invoice is still sitting inside your point of sale system pending because maybe there's new items that still need to get added, or maybe there is some sort of discount or something that needs to get processed and finalized before you hit save. The very first step, and you can start to do this a couple weeks in advance, is to clean up the entire point of sale system when it comes to your receiving process. Step number 2 is that I want you to actually count what you see, not what the software is telling you have. Okay, that was the mistake I made in the beginning, a big mistake. You'll save a version in your point of sale or export your previous inventory count that was in the point of sale system, and we are going to start fresh with what we see. We're going to count what we see and we're going to zero out the point of sale system. So this will help you go through entire backstock areas, start from the front of the store to the back of the store, go to the front of the store from left to right, top to bottom, count everything you see. And then those numbers are going to be put into your point of sale system. And that is what you actually have on hand. The previous amount with your current amount and any discrepancies, those are losses or damages or things that your accountant will need to know. Those are the variants that will need to be accounted for on your taxes. And if there are huge swings, then it gives you a second to go through and decide what departments in your business maybe need a little bit more attention. The third tip here is to use the time that you're doing your inventory to check expiration dates, check if things have prices, to dust the product, and to clean the shelves. So we always use the opportunity to pull everything off the display, clean the display, sometimes pull the display back, vacuum behind the display, put the display back, then start going through the product we took off of it. We would check to flip it over, check expiration dates. We would decide how long something could still be on our shelves and what would need to be put aside for a sale. We would then make sure that all the prices matched. Your manufacturers are changing prices on you so much that maybe there's product on the shelf that has an old price, and when you went to update the prices, that some of that product didn't get the new price tag. So we go through and we make sure that everything has the same price that it should. We make sure that everything has a tag if it's supposed to have a tag, a pricing tag, and we want to then finally dust off the product. I know it's one of my pet peeves when I walk into a pet store and I see a box of something and it has like a little film of dust on the top. Oh my gosh, that tells me that product has been sitting in this shop for way too long. My fourth tip, and probably one of my favorites actually, is that I want you to have some sorting bins. I'm talking the biggest storage containers you can find, and I want you to have multiple bins. Sometimes you'll need to have multiple bins, as in have enough to do this assortment I'm going to share with you, but also sometimes to have an additional set. It also depends on how large your store is. So here are the 5 types of bins I encourage you to have. The first one is a counted but needs a new tag, meaning it's something that is either missing a tag or maybe it has an old price on it. The most important thing here is that we're identifying that that bin has been counted, right? The person knows what it is, they knew the inventory number. The second bin is it's been counted, but this team member has identified that this is probably something that should go on sale. Maybe they're aware that you've had it for too long, maybe it was one of those really dusty products, or maybe it's going to be expiring soon. The third bin is a not counted bin because they don't know what it is. In my old store, we would have random picture frames or random little things here and there that were kind of like that we've had for years that just became part of a display or something, and they didn't have price tags on it. And so the employee had no idea how to look it up or how to count it because it didn't have a tag. So that goes into its own bin. Because here's the thing, you don't want multiple team members coming up to your manager or to you interrupting the counting that you're doing to ask that question. They can just put it in the bin and you can deal with it when you're ready. The fourth bin is a not counted bin that has expired product in it. So you're not going to count it because it has expired and you shouldn't sell it. The fifth bin is that it's not counted because it's damaged. Now, this is separate from your expired bin because just because it's damaged doesn't mean you can't sell it. Some of them you might not be able to sell, but some of them may be able to be fixed, or some of them may need to be discounted and you can still sell them. So if you're going to fix those damaged products, you then may want to add them back into your inventory since these weren't counted. Or perhaps you're going to contact your manufacturer for a credit or for a new product. So those are the 5 bins that I encourage you to have. If you have ideas for other bins, then you should make them as well. And make sure that each bin is clearly labeled so that your employees know exactly where to put the items. The fifth thing I want to share is I want you to give each employee who's helping you count a different color Post-it note stack. And they're going to use these Post-it notes to make a mark on the shelf that's been counted or the display that's been counted or the bucket that's been counted, so that when you are walking through for a final walkthrough or for a shift change, you know what has been counted. And if you have questions, like there might be a piece of artwork hanging on the wall that you're unsure if it's been counted, you know which employee was in that zone and should have put their color Post-it on it. I'm not saying put them on every piece of product, but definitely put them through different sections to make sure that you can identify what has visibly been counted. This is great for storage drawers or storage cabinets as well. And they can even take a Sharpie and give some directional arrows on them or even put their initials on the Post-it. How often a product seller counts their inventory really does vary. Some people never do it, so if that's you, I want you to tell yourself that this is now part of your job, and I want you to schedule a day to count inventory today. Schedule it today for a very nearby future date. Some retailers do it just once a year, and some will do what's called a cycle count by choosing a different department, a brand, or a different section in their store each month to verify its accuracy. This is kind of the best way to manage your inventory in a product-based business because it's less overwhelming and doesn't take as much time. We have lots more videos and resources for pet retailers, so I want you to check those out at petboss.com. I will see you in the next video.